Hello, everybody. My name is Edagram, and welcome back to Star Trek Online. If you have any games that you would like for me to play, let me know and I will see what I can do. For now, we have this last episode for Star Trek Online.
There was nothing I could do for him on the Herc Dreadnought. The Ketracell extraction process was too devastating. Odo, you treated him like a son when we first found him on DS9, and I'm truly sorry.
He didn't even have a name when he left us. I'll make sure the name he found is never forgotten. I remember his first days on the station. All he wanted to do was fight, didn't matter who. When he left, I thought I'd never see him again, or if I did, it'd be as enemies. The man I met years later still knew how to fight, but his reasons for doing so had changed dramatically. I'm proud to have known him. I wish I could have done more in the end. I suppose you're right. I believe Captain Kira was looking for you. She was at the Temple of the Prophets last I checked. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to pay my respects. We'll talk more later.
And here we are, once again. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? Funny you should mention that. After we got back, Starfleet Command offered me a number of postings, even the center chair on one of those shiny new cruisers. Tempting. But I chose to join the command staff here on DS9. Bajor and the Celestial Temple mean a lot to me, and this station is a good place to keep them both safe. Subtle, but you're not wrong. Odo and I have a lot to work out before we're back to where we were, but we've taken a few good steps in that direction. I think it'll work out. Eventually. He's a hard man to read sometimes.
It is good to see you once more. I was hoping we'd have a moment to speak on an important matter before your duties take you back to the stars. My thoughts often return to the Orb of Peace. It was no coincidence that it was found in the Gamma Quadrant, in the midst of two warring tribes. I believe it to be a message from the Prophets, one of guidance in troubled times. Now that the conflict with the Herc has ended, I feel it's time to explore this omen more thoroughly. The recent vision experienced by Loris is truly remarkable. That the Prophets would speak to Avorta. Again, this is no coincidence. Simply put, I believe the orb is meant to broker a lasting peace between the people of our quadrants and the Dominion.
Hello again, my friend. It pleases me to see you. I have interesting news. Thankfully, no. Rather, it involves the Orb of Peace that you returned with Kaiopaka. It has spoken to me. I've been exploring the meaning of that experience with the Kai and Captain Kira. They are, after all, experts on such matters. While we all find it curious that an Orb of the Prophets would speak to Avorta, we also agree it would be foolish to ignore it. With the blessings of Founder Odo, I have been transferred to this quadrant to continue my studies of the Orb and the Prophets. I shall also serve as Founder Odo's representative here. Diplomacy is my specialty, after all. I'm sure we'll be seeing one another again. May the blessings of the Founders and the Prophets be yours.
Thank you for coming to visit. After all we've been through, it means a lot to have friends, even if it reminds me of the ones we miss. Speaking of reunions, I think General Martok is leading the charge against the Bloodwine at Quarks. I'm sure he'd want to congratulate you on another glorious victory. May the Prophets watch over you.
A hard-fought battle and a well-earned victory. And yet, we almost missed it. Our fleet would have never left the Empire if it weren't for the Sword's return. Grilka tells me her former mate, Quark, had something to do with it. The sacred blade of Caelus, returned to the Empire by a Ferengi. Madness! Yes, it was Worf's idea to ignite the beacon of Caelus. A bold move, but it paid off. Only a coward could refuse such a call to arms. The legend of Caelus is stronger than ever. It would not surprise me if the High Council moved to create a new clone of the Emperor. There is great power in legend, after all.
That was quite the battle. I knew my father and uncle were up to something, but I didn't think it involved leading the Klingon fleet to the fight. That said, we wouldn't have pulled this off without you. Glad you were here for this. Starfleet's assigned the Chimera to peacekeeping duty in Herc space. We'll be working with the Joint Task Force to help the Herc get back on their feet again as well. There's a lot to be done, but we want to help them rejoin the galactic community. It is, but my crew is up for the challenge. They're some of Starfleet's best. Take care of yourself out there. Don't be a stranger.
We'll be here at DS9 until my ship is repaired. Fortunately, I have exclusive rights to the holosim of the battle. The sales of that alone will cover the cost of repairs, and then some. Some days, it's good to be the Grand Magus. I don't like to think about how close to disaster we were. Fortunately, there were people like you out there to bring us all back from the brink. All those adventures. You've got quite a story to tell. That reminds me. Have you ever considered making a holobiography? I think your life story would be quite popular and profitable. I'll make you a very generous offer for the rights and cut you in on a share of the profits, say 25%. Suit yourself. The offer still stands if you change your mind.
Welcome back. Seeing as this is a private party and I'm in an unusually generous mood, you'll be getting the VIP discount on your drinks tonight. Did you take a hit to the head in that fight? I'm in a good mood. Not insane. Half off. Take it or leave it. That's more like it. Don't take it personally. You could be Odo. His drinks, 50% markup. Can I get you something? Interesting. There's a message from Garrick on my monitor here. Text only. He wants you to meet him at his old tailor shop. Maybe he's had enough of politics and wants to get back in the fashion game. Probably more profitable and easier on the nerves. I wouldn't keep him waiting if I were you. He looks for secrets when he gets bored, and trust me, he's not the person you want poking around in your business.
Thank you for meeting me here. Strangely, I find it easy to center myself in this shop, even relax. Quite so. Cardassia is about to begin a new journey, as it were, and I'll be going along for the ride. Oh, it is. Cardassia has been offered membership in the Alliance, and we've accepted. Our seat at the table was hard-earned, but we're ready and grateful to join the ongoing efforts. Officer exchange programs have already begun. In fact, I suspect you'll be seeing more Cardassian faces in the future. I hope you show them the same courtesy as you've shown me in our shared adventures. Oh, I'll be spending time on Earth, Kronos, and New Romulus. The life of an ambassador is never dull, after all. Someone needs to make sure the Alliance doesn't forget about Cardassia, and I suppose that someone is me. I'll be sure to follow your exploits, of course. They'll be far more entertaining than economic forecasts, state functions, to be sure.
I have initiated a dialogue between the Dominion and the Karema. In light of recent events, I feel it is imperative that their conflict is resolved peacefully. Whether that results in an independent Karema or not remains to be seen, but I shall endeavor to help them reach a result that is beneficial for both parties.
The Havas Cool sector has been designated as independent from the Dominion, and a Herc neutral zone has been established around it. The Empire will join the Federation and the Republic in keeping the peace between the Dominion and the Herc. We have experience in enforcing a neutral zone after all. Martok's use of the beacon and the return of the blade has led to a renewed interest in Kahless throughout the Empire. Some say that Martok stands with honor next to great heroes like Tukuvma, Volk, Laurel, and Kang. As if getting along with the stubborn old Targ wasn't difficult enough, his ego will be larger than Mount Hamar at this rate. It is fortunate that Martok has little in the way of political aspirations. Otherwise, I may need to kill him. Again.
There have been some significant diplomatic events since your return from the Gamma Quadrant. First, the Dominion is joining the Alliance. Having them as allies will take some getting used to. The opportunity was too great to ignore. As a condition to joining the Alliance, we requested that the Founders take steps to free the Jem'Hadar from their addiction to Ketracel White. I'm happy to say that Ambassador Odo is inclined to comply with that request. It will make things interesting in the Gamma Quadrant, to be sure. Still, it's been a long time coming. The Jem'Hadar should be able to live their lives freely.
Things are finally settling down around here. Well, as much as it ever settles down, that is. Well, there's a lot to be done with the Herc, and being part of Starfleet will help me make things happen in that regard. When I'm not here, I'll be working with the Lukari and the crew of the USS Aventine to help the Herc get back on their feet. Indeed, but I happen to be married to the captain of the Aventine, so it won't be, too bad. The kids won't be joining us until Kumake and her team restore Havas Cool to a more habitable state, however. I'm sure we'll see each other again soon. But until then, be safe out there. Doctor's orders.
The Dominion is about to go through a number of changes, liberating the Jem'Hadar from the White, phasing out the Founders' benevolent dictatorship, establishing a safe haven for the Herc. Needless to say, I'm going to be very busy for quite some time. No, there are still a number of Founders within the Great Link who will be very resistant to change. I'd like to think they're outnumbered by those willing to take a more democratic approach, however. The last thing anyone needs is a Dominion civil war. Also, not all of the Herc were cured. We'll be dealing with rogue swarms for some time. I hope we can call on you in the future if we run into that special kind of trouble you have a talent for dealing with. Oh, and speaking of trouble, you might keep an eye on Quark. That little act of heroism with the Sword of Kahless will make him bolder than ever.
First, our founder Odo has decreed that we will use our new knowledge to remove the Jem'Hadar dependency upon the Ketracel White. As soon as you leave, we will disseminate this information to your medical officers. You will still be able to benefit from the rush in battle, but you will no longer require Ketracel White for your survival. Glory to the Founders for their wisdom. You are free to depart from Deep Space Nine when you are ready.